Greetings, fellow action figure connoisseurs, and welcome to Top 10 Week here on Digital Caveman Presents. I, as always, am your host, the Digital Caveman, and today I will be presenting you with my Top 10 Masters of the Universe of 2024. The criteria for making my list is pretty simple. It has to be something in the category of Masters of the Universe, and I had to review it in 2024. The only exception being is if I labeled it as a From the Toy Box review. Now, let's get into it! Here, my friends, we have our honorable mention for 2024. The Mattel Creations Masters of the Universe Masterverse New Eternia Horde Trooper. And this guy probably did not make the list proper because there, some issues, not necessarily with my copies of them, but I've heard tales of many quality control issues with this trooper, and so it's if you can pick one up. I don't know if they still have them on the website or not. I hadn't looked, but just buyer beware, I suppose. I got two of them. They were both good, but I've talked to several people and their quality assurance wasn't quite as good. Like they got two left hands or two right hands, something like that. And it just left a sour taste for them. So just beware of that with this figure. But as far as this figure goes, there's some things to like about it as well. I mean, I like the way it looks. I like the design of it. I like that it comes with the sword. I like that it comes with the staff. And you can store one or the other while he's using the opposite number. And that's pretty cool. We actually get to see that these guys are not robots, at least in this iteration. They're actually people who've been transformed by Hordak, according to what the box says, into Horde Troopers to just perpetuate the takeover of wherever Hordak is deciding to take over. And I do like the fact that the helmet's removable. I like the fact that the upper chest plate of the armor is removable, and you can kind of make them look a little bit different if you want to. And that's pretty cool. And again, I think it's cool that we kind of get to see what's on the inside of the armor, and finally knowing that this, at least this version, isn't a robot. I remember, not that I ever had the original Master of the Universe Horde Trooper figure, but he had a feature where you punched it in the Hordak face and it flew apart. So I always guessed that guy was a robot in the way they portrayed him in the She-Ra Princess of Power cartoon, and that's the one from the 80s, not the Netflix one. I always thought they were robots, but now we know better. And here's our honorable mention for 2024, the Mattel Creations Masters of the Universe Masterverse New Eternia Horde Trooper. In the number 10 slot, we have the Masters of the Universe Masterverse Revolution King Keldor, and I have to say, there are some issues with this figure. Single hinge and swivel at the elbow, although that's not a deal breaker, obviously. And then, the overlays over the legs kind of kill the range of motion for everything from the waist down. I like the soft goods. Still missing the wire, but I understand there's probably legal issues with calling this a toy and having wire in it for the cape. So that's a thing that's probably going to be ongoing. But I do like the way the soft goods look, and I'm not averse to Mattel continuing to use soft goods the way that they have. I would have liked something a little bit better for the overlay, maybe a soft goods cloak for below the waist would have been a little bit better choice for this figure. It would have allowed him to sit down, and it would have allowed him a lot more range of motion in the legs. But regardless, I think it's a great looking figure. I'm glad I got it in my collection. It's my first Keldor. I know there have been some Keldors before. I know in Origins they have one. I don't know if there was one before that or not. But for me, this is my first Keldor, and I think it's a fine entry for that character. So here we have number 10, the Masters of the Universe Masterverse Revolution King Keldor. Here at number 9, we have the Masters of the Universe Masterverse New Eternia Man-at-Arms. And I have to say, this is a better entry, 90% better entry in the Masterverse for Duncan than the Revelation rather, Man-at-Arms, except for the head. Now, I will say, I like this sculpt, but I think where they messed up is the paint apps weren't quite accurate on the mustache and didn't get all of it done. Plus, the mustache has a bit of that, I don't know, French look to it, which I don't really care for. Now, the rest of this design, I really like. The helmet, it's just the face is the only thing that really throws it off for me, and that's probably why this figure didn't end up higher on the top 10 list, because Man-at-Arms is one of my favorite Masters of the Universe characters, at least on the hero side. So I do appreciate what they tried to do with this figure, and again, they were 90% great with it. It's just that face, and it's mostly just the mustache, the design of the mustache and the execution of the paint apps on it. It just doesn't quite work for me. And I like the fact that his mace comes like this, or there's a swappable piece for the head of it, to where there's a piece of it on a chain and he can swing it around and maybe do a little bit more damage with it that way. But here we have at number 9, my friends, the Masters of the Universe Masterverse New Eternia Man-at-Arms. At number 8, my friends, we have the Masters of the Universe Masterverse New Eternia Mekaneck. And like most of the New Eternia figures, it combines the very classic feel of the figure with some slight updates. And the main update for this figure, well, I will have to say, his arms and legs have a bit of an angular feel to it now, like it's more mechanical or armored than it is flesh. But fantastic throwback for the shield and the club. The club is actually, the part of it is removable, and you can put the neck pieces in it and use it as a spy device as well. But for me, this is how Mekaneck's supposed to look, with his neck extended and looking out. And I love the fact that they did the vac metallization or some type of chrome mirrored pieces for his goggles, like the original figure had. I just hope that, like the original figure, over time, though, that it just doesn't wear out. Because, you know, vac metallization doesn't last over, you know, time. After about 10 years or so, you start seeing some degradation in it. And that's if, you know, it doesn't get wet or you know, lots of humidity or something like that. So, you know, I hope it's a newer process where it doesn't do that. And then the other big update is like the jointed neck segments, rather than, you know, having the gimmick like the original figure where you twist him at the waist and the head and neck move up a limited amount. You know, you can at least put, I think it's 5 segments on here. So you can make it at least 5 segments high, and, you know, it does sway and move a little bit, kind of like, well, not exactly like, but sort of like he did on the cartoon. You know, he could move his neck all kinds of which ways on the cartoon, a couple of times that he appeared on there. And I don't know, I always kind of thought the design of Mekaneck was cool, and the updates to this are really, I like them. I think it's cooler that, you know, hopefully one day they'll give us like just a pack with neck pieces in it, and you don't have to buy multiple Mekanecks to make a longer neck. So if you're watching, Mattel, which I know you are, think about that, will ya? But there we have it, my friends. At number 8, the Masters of the Universe, Masterverse, New Eternia Mekaneck. In the number 7 slot, my friends, we have the Masters of the Universe, Masterverse, New Eternia Thunder Punch He-Man. And I have to say, this is a nice mix of classic elements with newer design elements as well. Now, for those of you who remember the original Thunder Punch He-Man, he had a gimmick where you put ring caps in his backpack on his back. You would, you know, twist him at the waist and let him go, and it would pop one of the caps in the backpack, and then you would rotate the little circular piece, as you can see it coming around here on the backpack. You would rotate that to the next cap, and then you could do it again until all the caps were used up. Well, even though this one doesn't have that particular gimmick in it, it does have a piece that looks like ring caps that go into the backpack. The backpack does open up, and that ring does go in there. So that's a nice throwback to that, along with the colorations of this. Now, the new elements, or at least what I feel like are new elements, I don't remember the original He-Man having like these arm bracers or brace looking pieces on his arms, and I think that's a nice update to the figure. I think, you know, the most powerful man in the universe, what do? You know, you have to add like exoskeletal pieces on him to make him even more powerful. And the only things that kept this guy from being a little higher up on the list is the fact that I always complain about, you know, especially with gold plastic or gold colored things, they use that gold plastic that's swirly twirly, and well, they didn't do that with this one. They actually painted it, and the paint does scrape off by putting it into the shield. So the one time that they use it is the one time they shouldn't have used it. So, you know, I don't know. Just, I would have preferred this one to actually, I guess I could never be pleased with action figures, so it's always something, I suppose. And then I do like the Thunder Punch effect that you get with this figure. In fact, you get 2 of them. And then, but I was talking about the negatives. The only other thing I didn't like about this figure is kind of the it looks like he's wearing eyeshadow or eyeliner, and my He-Man never wore eyeliner. I don't know about your He-Man, but you know, eyeliner was not a thing for He-Man And I'm not sure why they decided to go with that, but I do like the wash in the hair and stuff. I like that, and I think overall this is a really good figure. Just those two issues or two things holding it back. I guess they're not really issues. They're issues for me, but maybe not for everybody. But that's why he ended up at 7 on the list and not a little bit higher. So there we have number 7, Masters of the Universe, Masterverse, New Eternia, Thunder Punch, He-Man. At number 6, we have the Masters of the Universe, Masterverse, New Eternia, Triclops. And I have to say, you know, this is it does have classic elements to it, but it feels a little more updated than classic. And in this case, I think that's okay, because you also get the throwback element of like the bandolier that he has there. That's kind of a throwback to the mini comics, because any other version of Triclops, I don't ever remember having that bandolier other than in the mini comics. And he does come with 2 swords. And unfortunately, they will be the victims of paint rubbing if you put them in the holsters or the slots or whatever you want to call them for the swords. And I think that's unfortunate, because I think it's a great addition to this figure that they, you know, it does have sheaths, so to speak, for the weapons. And if I recall correctly, there was an alternate head for this one as well. I just don't remember what it was, but this is the one I liked better, and I like the look of this figure. And again, you know, it feels like it's a lot more updated than some of the other New Eternia entries, but I feel like it really does this figure a lot more good than hinders it. And you know, that's my opinion. Of course, your mileage may vary. And so, you know, I like the colors, I like the design. So, you know, a very likable villain, I guess you could say, at least appearance-wise, design-wise, and weapon-wise, because I love the fact that he comes with his classic sword as well. I mean, that's just, it's great. And it's great enough that it ended up at number 6 on my list. The Masters of the Universe, Masterverse, New Eternia, Triclops. At number 5, my friends, we have the Masters of the Universe, Masterverse, New Eternia, Cyclone. And what a great figure. I mean, it pays a nice homage to the original figure, while also paying a bit of a homage to the 2001 series Cyclone, and adding some updated parts to it. And I think that's really cool. Not that, you know, an android who makes tornadoes is a new concept. It's been done before. But at least with Cyclone, at least the way the original figure worked, you know, he made a cyclone with the upper part of his body rather than the lower part, and it was to, you know, play beat 'em up bad guy rather than, you know, make tornadoes or whatever. But an android who creates tornadoes with any part of his body is, you know, it's a cool thing. And eventually the lore incorporated like red tornado type powers to Cyclone, so that it was lower part of his body that spun rather than the top part like the gimmick on the action figure, which is all well and good. It actually makes more sense than the, creating cyclones or tornadoes or twisters, whatever you want to call them, with the upper part of the body. But again, I like the way this figure pays homage to all that stuff while incorporating some new stuff. I like the chest piece on this one. I think it looks really, really cool. The flame blades, the shield, and especially the face mask, because now you can make it a nondescript character rather than it being Cyclone, the last of the androids of the ancient civilization or whatever. It can be one of the many because you can't see the face. And so, I think that's a cool little piece of it too, But that's it for number 5, the Masters of the Universe New Eternia, or Masterverse New Eternia, Cyclone. Alright, we're down to number 4 on the list, and it's the Mattel Creations Masters of the Universe Masterverse New Eternia Snout Spout. And I have to say, whoever originally came up with the design of a firefighter being an elephant dude is genius. I mean, he carries his own hose. Well, you know what I mean. And whether or not he's really an elephant under all that armor, or it's just a firefighter's helmet on Eternia, I don't know. But the fact that it's a Mattel Creations, because of it's kind of an oversized figure, and he's an elephant, or at least has elephantine features, I think it's kind of cool that they did make him an oversized figure, seeing as how elephants are really, basically the biggest dudes that walk the earth at this, currently. So I think that's really cool, and I like the updated design for this, even though, it does have some elements of that original figure. It, of course, doesn't squirt water. But, the water levels there on the backpack, and the backpack itself look a little bit on the cartoony side. And maybe the colors overall. But when you look at the elephant parts of it, which, the trunk and the helmet, the ears which do move forward and back, I think that's really cool feature to add on here. It's got a light pip for the eyes, and segmented, articulated parts for the nose, which I think is perfect. A perfect update for this figure, especially seeing how he doesn't have the actual shooting water gimmick that the original had. But the head is much more fearsome looking than the original figure as well. And I guess maybe firefighters aren't supposed to be fearsome looking, but this guy's also an elephant, so that should lend him a bit of fearsomeness, because they're not creatures that I would trifle with personally. But there you have it, my friends, the number 4 position, Masters of the Universe Masterverse Mattel Creations New Eternia Snout Spout. And now, my friends, we're getting down into the nitty-gritty of the list. Here we have at number 3, the Masters of the Universe Masterverse New Eternia Trapjaw. And what is not to like about this Trapjaw? If you're a fan of Trapjaw, there is absolutely nothing not to like about this figure. He comes, it's very classic inspired. I mean, super classic inspired. The design, in fact, there's a little bit of it that's updated, but it's not much. And it comes with his 3 classic weapons, plus he has this little short sword, which as a bonus can also attach to his mechanical arm, by the way. And I just have to say, you know, Trapjaw was one of my favorite villains growing up, just because he had a robot arm and he could change out, you know, his weapons on there, and that was really cool. Not to mention, you know, the little hoop on his head that he could ride down a fishing line or a piece of string or whatever. And he wasn't officially affiliated with Skeletor. He was like a bounty hunter. And, you know, that later changed, where he became one of the evil warriors. But according to the mini comics, he was a bounty hunter. At least that's the way I remember it. And just, I love the fact, like, he has an articulated elbow in his robotic arm, which I always felt like the original should have had, but, you know, they didn't. You know, they had articulation at the shoulders on the original Masters figure. So, you know, it's cool that it fits in with that. And one of the other updated features is, like, on his clamp attachment there, the smaller part of that will come off. His jaw comes off, and you can swap those out, so you can give him a more menacing look. Not that he's not menacing looking already. I mean, just look at those eyes and the color of his skin and that jaw, and just a very, very cool figure. And I really enjoy this figure. I think it's almost so classic that it hurts. The nostalgic pull of this figure to that original character, and I just love this. It's a great version of this character. And so I guess that's why he made number 3. But if this figure's so great, what figures were better than he was? Let's find out. So we'll leave behind number 3, Masters of the Universe, Masterverse, New Eternia, Trapjaw. We're almost there, my friends, but first we're going to stop at number 2, the Masters of the Universe, Masterverse, New Eternia, Skeletor, and Havoc Throne. And I will have to say, this throne is one of the best pieces I've seen in a long time, especially in Masters of the Universe. I like the fire braziers there light up. I like the sculpt of the thing. I like the fact that it comes with his Havoc staff plus this snake staff. I'm not sure what that has to do with it. Snake Mountain something, I'm sure. Snake Men. But not only that, but it has 2 places to put the staff so that he doesn't have to hold them if he doesn't want to. I think it looks much cooler with him holding the Havoc staff, though. Me personally. And this throne is just a great piece. And, you know, you could use it in other lines if you wanted, I believe. But, you know, I think it's a very good throne for Skeletor. Now, as far as the figure itself goes, it's just straight up reuse of the New Eternia Barbarian Skeletor, which is fine. I'm not a big fan of the chest piece that has the cape on it, the way that it fastens on the figure, but with this one just sitting down, it's great. And what a paint job, what a difference a paint job makes on a figure. This figure looks fantastic compared to the colors on the other one, which is basically just whatever it was molded in. But this one looks much more regal, more like a Lord of Destruction. And the fact that it comes with, you know, the old mini comic head, or I guess you could say like that very first Filmation Masters of the Universe toy commercial head, and it just sets this figure off. And this is a great set. If you like Masters of the Universe at all, you should really pick this up, because it's a great set. And I really like it. And that's why it made my number 2. But if this one is so fabulous, what's number 1? We'll find out in just a minute. But as far as this one goes, it's number 2, the New Eternia, Masters of the Universe, Masterverse, New Eternia, Skeletor, and Havoc Throne. At long last, we have arrived at my number 1 pick for Masters of the Universe for the year. And surprise, it's not a Masterverse figure. It's the Masters of the Universe Origins Cartoon Collection, Prince Adam and Cringer. And this figure is this set rather is number 1 because I've never had a Cringer, and this one is so Filmation. In fact, the set is so Filmation. It really makes me want to start this cartoon collection line, but I think I've waited too long, and it's hard to find a He-Man at retail now. So I've probably missed the boat on really getting started with this line, but this, nonetheless, every time I look at this set, especially the Cringer, it makes me want to collect this cartoon collection line. And when one set of figures really does that, you know, it's a good set, or it's a good figure. And you know, what can I say? And my first, for this to be my first Cringer, I know they did a Cringer in the the other Masters of the Universe line that was a 6-inch line. Classics, Masters of the Universe Classics. I know they did a Cringer in that one, but that one had no articulation or very limited articulation. The head may have moved, but the rest of it didn't. Or the head may not have moved at all. I don't know. I don't have that. I didn't collect that line. And I mean, this Cringer is it's great. Dare I say it's almost perfect. Definitely, it is the better half of this set. Excuse me. And it's just a fantastic figure. And of course, the Prince Adam isn't bad either. It is very, very Filmation as well. I like the colors on this one much more than the Origins figure. They're a little bit brighter and more cartoony. That one was a little bit darker, especially the jacket. Of course, the original figure's jacket was darker in color like that as well as compared to the cartoon. So for what it was trying to be, it was correct. But I definitely like this one better. And like I said, Cringer is the standout in this. He's fully articulated. He has a wide range of motion. The articulated jaw is it's a great addition. He did come with an additional head as well, I do believe. But this is the one that really says Cringer to me. So here we have it, my friends. My number 1 pick for Masters of the Universe for the year is Masters of the Universe Origins Cartoon Collection, Prince Adam and Cringer 2-pack. There you have it, my friends. My top 10 Masters of the Universe figures for 2024. Did you agree or disagree? Or would you have chosen something different? Let me know down in the comments. But that does it for the list. I hope that you enjoyed it. I enjoyed making it. only support from viewers like you make this programming possible. Each view does count, and I do appreciate each and every single view that I receive. Thank you, and thank you so very, very much for supporting this channel through viewing. If you are interested in supporting my channel further, I'm now offering memberships at various tiers. Click the join button on my YouTube page or check this video's description for the link and see if any membership offers are right for you, but only if you are in a position to do so. Comment below, like, share, subscribe if you would like to see more content or just help the channel grow, or both. That's even better. And don't forget to ding that bell so that in the future you will be notified as my new content becomes available. Well, that's a wrap, folks. I'll see you next time.